Kate, how are you going?
I'm good, how are you?
Excited for this negotiation today?
Yeah, same. Hopefully we can get some productive outcomes.
Yeah, so do I. Would you like to present your opening first?
Sure. So I talked with Alex before this, and we've he told me about like the potential issues to do with communication and sort of what he would want out of this might be slightly different from what you're looking for, but I guess what we're looking for is potentially introducing some new products like into the range, and I don't think Alex is very happy with the idea of a marketing manager as well.
Yeah, okay, and yes, okay, so I spoke to Raja, and yeah, it does sound like we have a few differences. Raja was saying that he wants to have a marketing manager, and he can't, I don't think, move past having the baseline, like having a strategy to increase the sales on the original software that was produced.
Yeah.
But Raja did say that he was quite flexible with how that would be arranged.
Okay, so we're sort of looking. Wait, so what you're looking for is.
So is at least a strategy to increase the sales for the first software product that was created.
Okay. So what you're looking for is to make sure that the original. So you want a marketing manager, and that's.
Well, yes, a marketing manager is definitely wanted, but on top of that, a strategy to increase the sales for the first software that was created.
Before we look at any other issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that seems like a pretty good jumping off point. I think as well, what Alex is looking for is to also sort of figure out a potential future solution. I'm sure we'll come to that at the end, but looking at sort of potential communications and how to fix further disputes as well, so that Alex and Raja can have a continuing relationship. I think that's very important here.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that Alex is wanting to continue the relationship with Raja.
Okay, so I guess we should jump to the first issue, and I think we should start with the marketing manager point.
Yeah.
So Alex has sort of stated a couple of things with marketing manager. He sort of thinks that there's no real point in having a marketing manager when there's only one product, and that we need to diversify the company in order to have that. So that's just sort of where he's starting, but I would say that he's pretty flexible as well.
Okay. Raja was thinking with the marketing manager, he really wants to be able to show, like on paper, that there's been a significant amount of sales on the first software that was produced, considering it's only been a year and a half now since the first release of that software. And even having a marketing manager part-time, or even having one like just for the 6 months for the rest of the year, that's sort of what he's looking for, just to see that sales can be increased for at least the first product, because he is concerned about the success of the business in the future. It's like he can't see success, like at least in the first product that was created.
Yeah, I think that's a really, I think I could definitely get behind that 6 months to a year employment. I think that's a really good idea. And look, I think we can highlight a couple of points that we could go into this and like have a marketing manager. So let's say we do get a marketing manager. I think Alex would like, there's a few things that I discussed with him that he would like. So he wants a hand in that hiring process. And as well as like some salary limits as well, because they are in a company, and I don't think it's really appropriate to have a lot of money put into this.
No, I agree. And that would lead us to the next issue, which is Alex wanting to create more software and diversify. With that, Raj's main issues were that would halt both of them working on their current lines they're working in, which is selling the product and making sure everything's running in business. However, Raja would be willing to create new software, but it just needs to be balanced with also making money with the first software that was produced. And the other concern with it is, so I've had a look at the monetary cost of software, and it's roughly around 20 to 50,000 to create one. So that's just another issue that Raja has, considering we are a new company and we can't just go and spend all this money all at once and pretty much halt sales for everything else. Yes, that's one of the other issues that we have with that. However, if we were to have a marketing manager part-time, I'd be around 15 to 40,000, which is looking way less than that. And then also after we could produce more software.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm hearing is that we can potentially make a little bit of a trade-off in terms of, I think it's important, Alex has stated that that's an important part, that he wants to create new products. And we could potentially, I don't know, do that potentially at the cost of a marketing manager as well.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is maybe putting some conditions on how much Alex and Raja can work on a new product, so that the priority is for the old one. I think that's important. But as well, I think your point that we need to have that we've got to focus on the old product because the new is valid, and I think we can work with that. And that in order to focus on the old one, we have to have some form of marketing.
Yeah.
I think the salary that you set, the 15 to
15 to 40. Yeah.
I think that is very reasonable, and I think we can work with that.
Yeah, I think that would be in their budgets. Yeah.
And that way as well, we can focus on the old one and potentially work on new together if we can outsource the marketing of the old one.
Yeah, and that would also make more sense, considering a full-time marketing manager's salary would be 60 to 90.
Yeah.
Okay, and so 50 to 40K seems much more reasonable.
I agree. Yeah, and I think especially nowadays with internet technology and sort of what marketing managers can do online, I don't think there's really a point in hiring a full-time one. So
yes,
I think I'll take you up on the part-time salary basis.
Raja would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the marketing manager issue seems to have sorted out.
Yeah.
The one thing is obviously I think it's important that there's a collaborative hiring process between Alex and Raja, that they both agree, and I think that's important.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think Raja would be willing to do that. He's wanting to work with Alex long term in the future. So I don't think that. I think that would be something that he would want.
Yeah, and it's great that that's what both of our clients
want,
is that collaborative nature and ongoing long-term relationship as well.
Yes.
So okay, great. So with the new products, are there any stipulations that you might have in terms of potentially working on new ones?
Not really, except I think that Raja feels like, Raja has notified me that he feels like if we were to not hire a marketing manager, then he would not be able to have a hand in creating software.
Okay.
And that is something that he wants to have.
Yeah.
And he definitely wants to be a part of creating software. but he wouldn't have time if there wasn't another party working on sales.
Yeah. So if we are able to facilitate that and we're able to get someone in, does that change Roger's perspective on that?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
I think Raja would be more lenient,
Okay.
and he would be more interested in creating software sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And even, way sooner, like even in like the next couple months, I think. Like even if, and if we were to have a part-time marketing manager, then within a couple months we would be able to, because there would be that spare time that would be created.
So new products we can sort of look at formulating in the next couple months.
Yeah.
And we can also use the marketing manager to work on that later as well, so we can just continue getting that line going.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So in terms of, and I agree that the priority should probably rest with the old software first, if there's any technological updates or anything like that. I think Alex can agree that that's an important part of the business.
I think there was one other thing that Raja had with software. From my understanding is that Alex wanted to create software that was not based on the previous software, so it was new software. I think Raja was wondering if there was also an opportunity to create software based on the previous software.
Okay.
So that there'd be less of a startup process with all of that.
So sort of looking to develop their own brand rather than
instead of creating a whole
Okay. I talked to Alex about sort of what he's been working on, and I think there's a bit of an issue in the terms of Alex wants the company to move forward with the innovative and dynamic nature of IT, and doesn't want to get left behind. And so if we're focusing on old software that is clearly not going well or it's not selling, there's potential that will get left behind. And so by developing something that's new, we can sort of, I guess, double our chances of being
success. And that's what Raja wants. That makes so much sense, because he wants the business to succeed as well.
Is there any other concerns with that? Like, are you happy for him to work on new ones?
I am, as long as there is room for a marketing manager.
Absolutely. And I think, we can work with that.
Okay, perfect.
How are we going on time? Oh, we're doing well. Okay. And I guess the next step is sort of looking at the long-term relationships, if we've sort of worked through those next two, if those issues
those next two issues.
And we can come back to those and sort of finalize them in a minute. But so in terms of ongoing communication, I think it's clear that the fact that these our two clients have sort of had to reach this stage, there's probably an issue here.
There is, and I think even with this issue at hand, they had some sort of verbal understanding that they would hire a marketing manager. And then that sort of fell through later on. So we definitely need a strategy to pretty much stop that from happening next time round, or at least have a strategy to solve those sorts of solutions. Those sorts of issues, sorry.
Do you have any ideas or concepts that you'd like to bring up now?
I am not 100% sure. Was there anything that you were thinking of? Anything you had in mind?
I think in general what we sort of came up was potentially more meetings and sort of opportunities for better communication. So regularly scheduled meetings that it primarily focused on this type of issue. And sort of identifying mutual goals and mutual long-term objectives. And a meeting being solely set on that, rather than there being a conversation here and there, and it's sort of not really going through the motions.
I agree. And I think for those meetings as well, we would, Alex and Raj would have to have minutes. Just so they remember what was discussed in each conversation.
Absolutely.
Even if they had a third party listening in and writing minutes that could even be helpful. But yeah, I agree. I think that would work. I think that would work really well.
Do you think that's enough to sort of stop this type of issue from coming up again? Or do we need to look a bit deeper into the relationship and the objectives of the company?
It's very tricky. I think with their company, it's very versatile and changing and evolving, considering it is like software technology. It's hard to say whether Raj's interests would change, but as of what I know, they wouldn't. So I think that this strategy that you've suggested would work.
Okay, great. I'm happy to hear that. And yeah, I think the fact that these two have really gone into this relationship and like they want to protect that long-term relationship in the end, like that's
They do.
a key. That's going to be really key, especially in those meetings where things might get a little bit dicey. And that's why I think the marketing manager being an active part as well could be really helpful in solving those communication issues.
Yes, I think so.
So should we sort of look at potential, what these solutions would look like in action?
Yeah. Okay.
So for the marketing manager, so let's look at a collaborative hiring process where they're both 100% in agreement with the candidates.
Yeah.
I know Alex expressed to me something that Raja was potentially looking at a grad student as a hire. Is that still something you're interested in?
That's still on the table.
Okay.
I'm happy to hire a grad. Raja would be happy to hire a grad student, as it would also cost less for them.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if they were part-time, if they happen to be part-time, that would reduce our costs like greatly.
I agree. Do you think there would be any issues in terms of lack of experience or they're not living up to potential?
That is definitely an issue, but I think that would be a risk that they would take together, and also having known that they both addressed it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that Raja would be fine with that.
Yeah. And worst case scenario, I think Alex would be happy to just sort of potentially look into review, like a 6-month or yearly review, and sort of see if the sales are going up, and if not, looking at a new manager.
I agree.
Going to someone with more experience.
No, that's exactly what Raja had in mind. Even having them on a small, like a 6-month contract, and then having a review and seeing if that's going to work.
Okay, great. So we'll start with the grad part-time student, and if that's not really working out, we can look to someone with potentially more experience. If that sounds good to you.
Yeah, it does.
I'll just take a note of that. And I think Alex is happy to sort of, if it does come at a higher cost, like I think if it's that important to Raja, we'll do that. Like that's
beautiful.
That's a limit that, and we need to pay more money, then there'll have to be
a little bit of a
limit.
workaround.
There'll be a limit in place, but I think we can sort of work around that. And if we have to, I don't know, worst case scenario, so let's say the marketing manager, the grad student has worked out, the part-time isn't working out. And we need to sort of look at someone with experience and is full-time. Is there a limit? I know that Raj is very conscious of costs.
Yes, he is. There would definitely be a limit for that. Let me just have a look. So because for the marketing manager full-time with experience, I think would be around 60 to 90.
Okay.
I think we would definitely be pushing for the lower end. So maybe not more than 70. 70K.
I think that Alex definitely agrees to that. There needs to be a very clear limit that we're willing to pay and advertise for. And if we have to go full-time and more experience, then I think 70K is a very good limit. If these other part-time grad student sort of opportunities don't come out to a good.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, great. So that's 7K. Okay. So I'm happy to move on if you are, unless there's any other issues you want to talk about for marketing manager.
No, I think we're all good with that one.
Okay. So I guess the next step is looking at new products, since we've agreed that the hiring is important.
Yeah.
So Alex is pretty firm with the fact that it's important to develop
Yeah.
new products, but it's happy to prioritize the old ones
Yeah.
in terms of unit costs and things like that.
Well, Raja is very lenient in terms of creating new software.
Okay.
The main thing is that if his fulfillment for a marketing manager is met, then he is like open to creating any type of software.
Okay. Okay, that's great.
But yes, obviously, if there was a way that we could still diversify with the old software, like that would be great, but
Yeah.
that doesn't seem to be the case, does it? It wouldn't really work out.
I'm not too sure if that's, look, we can discuss it in the sense that, I just don't know if, I just think Alex has got so many ideas about software products that yeah, there might be potential that we just take it one step at a time and at the meeting sort of discuss the new ideas, see if we can incorporate them into the old ones.
Yeah.
And into the old software and sort of see where we can go from there. So sort of looking at the best of both worlds. But
Yeah. No, that's totally fine. Raja will be happy to work on new software.
okay, great. And I think discussions about the new software with a full disclosure at these general meetings would be important as well. Just with the new products as well, are you looking to, since the old software is more or less finished and can just sort of go onto the marketing manager, is there a need to prioritize the old software then?
No, there wouldn't be then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's great. So we can start sort of looking at new products and
New products, yeah.
working collaboratively on those. Okay, great. And I guess next step is just implementing that communication at these meetings. Probably setting them for first Monday of the month or something like that. Is monthly enough for Raja?
I think maybe at the beginning we'd have them every second week,
Yeah.
and then as things look more stable, then we'll move to monthly.
Yeah. And I guess, and then go to monthly. I think that's a good idea. Just with that, I don't think these meetings will highlight that these meetings are more focused on the long-term objectives of the company and looking at those new software ideas.
Yeah.
And then we might have to do a separate one for the hiring process.
Yes.
And the marketing manager side of things, if you're happy to do that.
Yeah, I'm happy for that. Yeah.
Just so it's nice and clear.
That works really well.
Okay. Is there any other issues that we need to talk about?
Well, all the issues on my end have been covered. Is that the same for you?
I think so. I think as long as we I think we've really knocked out those 3 key ones, and I'm happy to send that back to Alex, and we can formulate a written agreement so all that we've said is sort of ready to go.
Yeah, I'm happy for that too. All of that looks fine to me. I'm happy for, all of that.
Okay,
Yeah, perfect.
great. Well,
Great.
excellent negotiation.
Thank
Well
you.
done.